My name is Jing, and for most Australians, this is the first time you have heard my voice. But for many years, I've heard your voice. I've heard your pains, I've heard your frustrations and sorrows, I've heard your desire for change. I've heard of the injustices in our society, I've heard of the wastages and failures of governments, I've heard the frank calls for something to be done. I make this speech to you today as part of the launch of a new national political party which I lead and have founded. It's called the All Australians Party. It's a new party that seeks to make a real change to the way this country is run, to implement policies that will genuinely be in the best interest of the Australian people. It's a party that seeks to sweep away many of the superficial things which have been used by some to divide us as a people, and to unite us together as one country and one people for the benefit of all and the prosperity of each. Through my words today, I will first give a brief introduction to my background and experience. Second, highlight some of the clear problems facing our country today. And third, present an overview of key policies and solutions which will address what our country needs. And finally, I'll present a calling to action from one citizen to every Australian citizen who cares about their future, their friends and families' futures, and our collective future. Let us begin. I'm not a career politician, nor do I desire to be one. Previously, I've never been affiliated with any political party. But by those who are my friends, those who have worked for me and those who have worked with me, I'm known as a skilled leader, problem solver, and someone who does not give up until the work is delivered as promised. My formal education was undertaken at the selective high school North Sydney Boys High, where through my work ethic I was consistently top of my grade. My studies then took me to Sydney University, where I studied a combined degree in commerce and law. My working career began as a corporate litigation lawyer, where I represented and helped Australian businesses large and small across many sectors and industries. I built relationships with Australian businesses and Australians from all walks of life and backgrounds. That is something I'm very proud of. Later on, I followed my passions and visions for creating something of value and meaning on a larger scale and built my own company, One Friends, from the ground up. One Friends is an app designed to help foster and maintain users' true friendships. I have for the past 6 years led One Friends as the CEO and founder, and we've achieved much success internationally due to the support of our users. A very eminent former justice of our nation's High Court has also been a long-time mentor and friend of mine, whose wisdom and insights over the years have further reinforced my own leadership and my own judgment. Outside of formal work and in parallel to it, I've also been an elite level swimmer and athlete. Whilst on an extended break currently, to this pursuit and craft I've dedicated over a decade of my life since I was a teenager. All Australian swimmers, Olympians and parents of swimmers would know what that's all about. But enough of that. Sure, I have qualifications, leadership experience and what's considered valuable skills, but those things are not what's most important. Those things pale in comparison to the qualities and character needed in a person who will be a true leader for Australians in this moment in time. Dare I say, a hero leader during crisis. What is needed is someone with a genuine desire and will to do something great for his people, for his fellow citizens, and for his nation. To put the interests of each and every Australian ahead of the interests of petty political games and selfish motives. What has been lacking in previous political outfits and parties is at its core this intention and desire to act in the genuine best interest of the people. And so naturally, when the intention is already misconstrued and crooked, the execution of tasks and end results will be of little effect. An effective organisation, whether it be a company, a political party, or nation as a whole, is akin to a ship, with a capable captain of the ship must set his sight and vision upon a fixed and constant destination, and then navigate that ship through any rough currents, always with an eye and intention on that promised outcome, unwavering, undaunted, persevering until it is done. Please allow me now to highlight a few problems about the current state of the country's trajectory and political governance. I ask, How is it that under the old politicians, despite how hard and honestly most Australians work in what is supposed to be an advanced Western economy, that our standards of living day to day continue to decline in real terms, and the cost of living remains a crisis that plagues us week to week? That despite our country's abundance of natural resources, minerals and sun, our electricity prices are still so expensive year to year? My good Australians, my friends, mates, companions, I ask, is this kind of leadership the best that our country can do? How is it then that we can produce some of the finest swimmers, world record holders and Olympic champions the world has ever seen every 4 years, but can't field a single world-class political leader in decades who has a deep grasp of every area required to govern well and to act in the best interest of the people? My good Australians, I ask, are those we've had leading the best that our country can put forward? How is it that in an advanced nation, with a land mass much greater than half the European continent combined, with a population as relatively small as ours, that we can still have an ongoing crisis in the availability of housing? And that despite this current housing shortage, which never should have existed, we still have year-to-year nonsensically high number of migrant arrivals as a proportion of our total population, some 667,000 in the year 2023 to 2024 alone per the ABS statistics, usually unskilled coming in. My intelligent Australians, I ask, is this kind of leadership the best that our country can do? I then emphasise, how is it that for the ordinary worker or professional day to day, you are expected to complete all jobs and tasks diligently and accurately to get paid, but when it comes to the most important positions in our country, in terms of governing our country, making decisions which affect the livelihoods of all, the old politicians can make mistake after mistake, have no knowledge of the solutions to problems, and lie to our face about the mismatch between the promises and results. Yet still with vanity claim they deserve to govern as though we truly have no alternative. My fair Australians, I ask, is this not the most selfish and incompetent, corrupt and dishonest of conduct? Is the political system not broken? Are we not in need of some real change at this important point of our nation and people's combined destiny? This part of my speech, therefore, is dedicated to those Australians who feel lied to. This part of my speech, therefore, is dedicated to those Australians who feel let down. This part of my speech is dedicated to those who have suffered and desire to suffer no more. This part of my speech is dedicated to those who believe that the leadership of light and hope will still eventually triumph over the leadership of fear and darkness. This part of my speech is dedicated to those who still believe that leaders should stand up for something and stand up for what they believe in. Well, I say, my friends, from this day forward, we do have an alternative, and that alternative is the All Australians Party, which I lead, which will do what is right by all manner of people without fear or prejudice. My Australians, allow me now to provide an overview as the time of the speech allows of how exactly I will fix our most pressing problems in a fast and immediate way. How a completely new government under my leadership, one that combines strength with compassion, courage with prudence, vision with pragmatism, will act in the genuine best interests of each and every Australian. Firstly, within the first 100 days of taking office, there will be a dramatic reduction in the cost of living for every citizen. This will occur through government negotiated and implemented price caps and controls on major essential bills such as on electricity, on fuel, rent, and monthly mortgage repayments. Immediately, in the most tangible and real way, there will be a significant alleviation of the financial burdens which have plagued us for the past few years. A strong government, under my leadership, representing the people, will ensure this happens. Second, the major cause of our inflation is the immense an unsustainable increase in the money supply since 2019 and 2020, or the printing of too much money to fund our government expenditures. This rapid increase and unsustainable increase in the money supply during an Australian context of almost zero economic growth in real terms, or minimal economic growth in real terms, has meant a significant contribution to inflation, with all that new printed money going significantly to inflation. The current and past approaches of governments and the RBA have simply been attempting to cover up the symptoms of inflation without actually fixing the real major cause, pinpointing that real major cause, and then wisely presenting a solution. A new government under my leadership will put an end to this as part of prudent economic management. Thirdly, a nation is made prosperous through high economic growth and wealth creation for its citizens. The renewal of the economy and then a significant building up of the economy, with one which delivers prosperity for all, is the key focus of my leadership. Instead of finding petty political ways of cutting the same economic pie to the benefit of one group of Australians and the detriment of another, I will build up the economic pie as a whole, making it bigger for everyone. We will make our less wealthy Australians wealthy and our already wealthy Australians even wealthier, all whilst contributing to the country as a whole. That is my vision. This will be brought about by investments in building up existing economic sectors and then focusing on new sectors like technological innovation, which can provide high economic growth and positive flow-on effects to all parts of the economy, or many parts of the economy. For a nation with a smaller population like ours, it is also a focus on advanced technology and engineering, which will allow us to outcompete larger countries in the future. Our country's rich resources, under my leadership, will be extracted, refined, and exported by newly established state-owned enterprises, with such money and revenue then being reinvested into strategic areas of the economy to help it grow further, into health, education, social programs, things which improve the very fabric of our society and improves lives of everyday Australians each and every day. Australia's vast resources should benefit Australians foremost, and this is something many and most Australians have already realised. Such a plan will also ensure the build-up of our own stockpile of crucial resources to protect against global supply-side shocks and to sustain future potential wars, as well as once again reducing costs for Australian consumers. There will be a significant reduction in overall migrant numbers, with a focus on selective skilled migration in the future, and practical solutions to ensure access to housing for Australians. Next is the full review and audit of major expenditures by government departments and agencies to immediately reduce wastages and inefficiencies. It makes no sense for Australians to be working hard and diligently every day to pay a substantial share of their salaries to tax, to only have all this money pulled together at the government level by politicians and bureaucrats who waste it in the billions without any care or concern. I guess it's easy to waste someone else's money, but this will happen no more. A great nation and an economy must spend money efficiently and effectively. On the point of national unity, I believe that we are one people, Australians, regardless of age, race, religion, gender, wealth levels and social backgrounds. We are united by our shared Australian values and virtues such as goodness and decency, dedicated and honest work, mutual respect and love for our country's achievements. These are the things which form and define the Australian character and makes us one united people. These are also the pillars upon which our nation will become great and realise our full potential. We must then, having spoken about those things, turn to the vital issue of our national defence and military strength. During such globally turbulent times, we must significantly build up our defence force across all areas in the shortest amount of time. From training to equipment to technological innovation to logistics and manpower to our wartime leadership capabilities. Currently, our nation, in all honesty, is completely ill-prepared for the demands of a modern war. We currently don't even have enough stockpiles of oil and fuel to sustain a war for longer than a couple of months. My policies will, in a few short years, not only get us up to speed, but build a world-class military that will be formidable against any powers in the world. This, my Australians, is my promise to you. Have no doubts on what I will do to prepare our military. On the crucial issues of healthcare and education, we will ensure all government health agencies, doctors and medical experts are empowered to do what is best for Australians to provide honest advice and honest information, both in extraordinary times and ordinary times. We'll build up the resources of hospitals, improve working conditions and salaries for nurses, and longer term create a system that is world leading in prevention and treatment of disease. It's my vision that our nation is fit and healthy, both physically and mentally, not mired in illness and preventable suffering. On education, our plan is to attract high quality teachers into the profession, focus on building up both public and private education with a curriculum that is holistic and prepares Australian kids of all backgrounds, advantaged and not so advantaged, to be able to fulfill their potentials in a path that they love, doing what they love whilst contributing to society as a whole. There will also be effective initiatives which link employers to young job seekers, so young people are not left to sink or swim in the disillusioning job market. Young Australians, I got you. Having now highlighted many of the solutions and positive plans, we should speak on what now as a national community and people we can do to make this change happen. How everyone can play a role. Some of you may inevitably have doubts about whether we should act now, about whether we need to act now, and about whether the complete change of leadership as proposed is the answer. Well, I say to you, my Australians, that it would not be going against our character as good, decent Australians to make such a big change at this most important juncture in our nation's timeline, but the very vindication of that character. I refuse to believe that Australia is out of talented and capable leaders, and I know there are many of us who still consider it the duty of those who are so skilled, when called, to step forward and to serve the country, to help those less fortunate and be part of something bigger than ourselves. I know such generosity and nobility of spirit still exists within the hearts of us Australians and us as humans. But this has previously laid dormant where there was no real leader or movement, no real chance or opportunity to make a change. But now, in this moment, I call upon the finest, most skilled and capable citizens among us, who previously stood far away from politics, much like myself in previous years, to now step forward, join the All Australians Party as a member, as a leader or candidate for election, be part of the special 190 or so candidates for election this year, and help me lift up our country from the dire sunken condition we now find it, solve our biggest problems once and for all, and then help me build this country into a proud and prosperous world power for the first time in her history. This is my vision. I call upon my Australians, each and every one, of every age and every race, every background and every religion, of every income level and every position, of every suburb and every state, of every city and every town. I call upon my Australian men, and I call upon my Australian ladies to now step forward and do what is right to make a change. Do what is right by you, by your friends and families, by our country and community. If ever there was a time and opportunity for us, the people, to come together as a single country and single people, it would be now. Just one of us, just one citizen, cannot do too much. We can, through our intelligence, see the problems with the country. We can sigh in disappointment and frustration. We can carry on without much hope for the future. But all of us Australians combined, we cannot be stopped. This is the opportunity offered to us now. This is the national movement of which I lead. Stand up, rise up, join us and support us, donate to us. And within a few short months, real change will be made and there will be a new government and a new leadership. Proud and prosperous, strong and successful, we will tell of the time the people came together. Over the next few months, as myself and my growing team campaign tirelessly for our national cause, I look forward to meeting many Australians personally. And at the end of our national campaigning, should my words have had any effect, and the call to change and the change that the Australians have for many years called for had been a genuine call, and our deeds matched our words, then true change will be made, and then we will begin a new journey, a new path towards the shining light of prosperity, national unity, fairness for all, security for each, and shown as we've always sung that indeed with courage we can all combine to advance Australia fair. My Australians, if you do not believe in yourselves that you can make such a big change in so small amount of time, or that you can achieve great things in the future despite what has happened in the past, then at least believe in me, and I will reflect back to you what all along you could have accomplished. I end my speech here as such, having already spoken from my mind, heart and soul. Time for change, time for hope, time for Australia to ascend history's sublime mountain slope. Thank you.